Good evening. I'm Rhonda at Carnivore Leo, bringing you carnivore news that we can use from the community. Today's topic is about mindful eating. I recently read a book entitled Mindful Eating by Carrie Dennett. She's a registered dietitian nutritionist, and she shares the evidence behind mindful eating and the tools needed for incorporating this practice. Her book contains 6 lessons where she introduces the concept of mindfulness while helping you tune in to your internal cues for hunger and satiety. She also helps you to establish a mindful eating practice, identify challenges to mindful eating, and examines how eating mindfully can also help you eat more nutritiously. Carrie opened up her first chapter on mindfulness and mindful eating with this statement. You may have heard the saying, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, if you eat a meal mindlessly and don't notice that you ate it, did you really eat? So, what did you eat at your last meal? Can you recall the flavor, the aroma, the temperature, the texture? Could you describe it? If any of these specifics of that meal eludes you now, then you probably were eating mindlessly. We've all experienced mindless eating, engaging in a conversation during dinner, snacking while engrossed in a movie, or simply rushing through a meal to get to where we need to be can't always be avoided. But by understanding the principles and practices of mindful eating, we can apply them when possible and enjoy our eating experiences that much more. So, first, let's define mindfulness. Mindfulness is what happens when you bring your full attention and awareness to your experience in the present moment without judgment. So, what is mindful eating? Mindful eating is eating with awareness, to be engaged in the present moment. Mindful eating is a practice that helps you become aware of your many thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations related to eating. When you eat mindfully, you use all of your senses to choose food that is both satisfying and nourishing. You pay attention objectively and non judgmentally to whether you like, dislike, or feel neutral about a food. You also pay attention to the physical hunger, fullness, and satiety cues to help guide your decisions about when to start and stop eating. You become aware about how choosing and preparing food can be both positive and nurturing when you respect your own inner wisdom. You start eating because you are getting hungry, and you stop eating because your body or your taste buds tells you that you've had enough. So how do we go about eating mindfully? There really isn't any right or wrong way. The most important thing is to sit down without any distractions or devices. You want to be fully present with the food, to not have anything stimulate your mind wandering away. This is easier said than done. When was the last time you sat down and ate a meal without a phone or a screen of any kind, or a notebook to read? To sit down and just be present with our food without distractions can be extremely eye opening. When we do anything while distracted, it is impossible to be mindful. We can't be mindful and distracted at the same time. When we are not mindful, we're more likely to overeat, right? We are mindless. We definitely aren't appreciating the food and what it is doing for our body and for our health, much less how it tastes. Mindful eating doesn't have to be slow. Many people think it's just eating slowly, although it can be helpful to eat slowly to help you tune in and pay attention. However, the biggest way to connect mindfully with the food is through our 5 senses. The senses become such an important part because we can only be with our senses here and now. For instance, I can only see, smell, taste, or touch something right now in this present moment. So if I'm thinking about something that I've heard yesterday or that I smelled yesterday, that is just a thought because I'm not thinking or smelling that in this present moment. When we approach food mindfully with our senses, take it in fully. How does the food look? What are the colors, shapes, and the textures? Does it look appealing to you? Does it look unappealing? How does it smell? Then, when you finally taste the food, notice it fully. What is it like in your mouth? What is it like to have the food touch your taste buds on your tongue? What are the textures like? What does it feel like to chew? Can you notice even the impulse to swallow? Notice the sounds as you chew and as you swallow. Then, when you go to take your next bite, do it all over again and notice what's the same, what's different. How does it change bite to bite? So, in a nutshell, mindful eating is bringing our full attention and awareness with our five senses to our eating experience and being fully engaged in the present moment without judgment. That concludes carnivore news that we can use. Thank you for watching. Good night.